It was only when I talked to Craig that I became extremely excited of what this adaptation might look like.
We asked Nico Parker to play an incredibly challenging part. We have to fall in love with her. And she also has to be a specific kind of person, very different than the person that Joel is going to meet later in the episode in the guise of little Ellie. It was important for us to present the audience with a Sarah that we felt we could follow for the rest of the series. She's almost the protagonist until disaster strikes. Something that Nico Parker and Pedro Pascal pulled off gorgeously.
Nico Parker, my original daughter, my Sarah, she is the person that I live for. Without her, I don't have purpose.
He's the best. I could not ask for a better on-screen dad. A lot of the time with acting, you're not always seeing what you're reading and what the audience is seeing. So a lot of the time you're kind of making up in your head, which on one hand is really amazing because you can create this whole narrative in your brain that then you get to follow through with. And on the other hand, it's like you're watching someone die and you're just staring at like a patch of grass and like, the amazing thing about Fort McCloud is it was like you could just really immerse yourself because it's all in front of you. Like any time where I was scared, I was genuinely really scared. Dad? Oh shit. And I just remember being like, oh my God.
We are not sick!
So this is how it begins. It begins with tragedy.
Which is ultimately the event that shapes the character for the rest of the show, for the rest of his life. It is the point of identity for Joel.
That kind of love, that unconditional love, is beautiful and can be very scary at the same time.
We didn't do a lot of rehearsing because I think we both kind of wanted to savor all of the passion and everything. The feeling I had after the first take of adrenaline.
The emotion there is heartbreaking and it's ugly. The way she dies is not pretty. It's not meant to be pretty. Her death is the fulcrum point for everything.
My name is Marlene. I'm the leader of the Fireflies in the Boston QZ. I first met Marlene almost exactly 10 years ago in 2012. It was to audition for the video game. As far as the HBO series, I don't remember when I first heard about it, but when I did, I was like, Mommy, want that. Did I think that they would actually cast me? No, I didn't. The hundreds of people that work on the game make you look like Marlene, make you look like the character and turn it into a masterpiece. It's another thing to step in front of the camera and embody her with my own instrument. And I had a couple of things on my side, which was I grew into her, I aged into her a little bit, and I guess my deep passion and love for her.
As a writer, you're trying to construct a scenario where like a person is trying to avoid a fate worse than death. For Joel, it'd be losing a daughter again, and he probably would not survive that. So then how do we put him in a situation where now he has to be with this girl and he immediately tries to reject it?
You're gonna do it.
The hell we are. We don't have time for this.
Joel is a broken man, and he meets this kid.
Ellie's not a big fan of Joel when she first meets him. Their initial meeting doesn't really set them up to be the greatest of friends, but I think that's also because they're like similar personalities. They just clash, and they don't know how to relate to each other yet. Asshole!
In the final moments of this episode, Joel forgets that the girl that is standing behind him is not his daughter.
Primitive instinct takes over. He can't help but act. Something else took control of him in a similar way to how the cordyceps does, except for him, it's a version of love.
The most remarkable thing about that moment is that when Ellie watches him beating a man to death, she is activated. Earlier in the episode, when Sarah sees him killing this old woman who's infected, who he has to kill,
You killed her.
she cries.
Baby, I'm sorry.
Ellie doesn't cry. Ellie likes it. She likes the idea of somebody defending her like that, and she likes the idea of that guy being punished. And this is where you begin to see the problem, but also the deliciousness of the pairing. These two were meant to be together, but look out. Well before we ever rolled any film, we gathered together a small army of people to work on how to get the clickers right. And getting the clickers right means that people who have played the game will go, that's it. And people who haven't played the game are going to go, oh my God. To present the clickers on screen correctly, my feeling was that we had to make 5,000 decisions exactly right. We brought Barry Gower in. Barry Gower worked on our prosthetics on Chernobyl. He's the best.
When we joined the show, we spoke to both Neil and Craig about the design for the clickers, and we started off with a lot of preliminary concept art. We were using that as a stepping stone, and even though we were creating new, refreshed versions on the same brief, we kept going back to the original designs that Neil and his team had created for the games.
Neil and I were ruthless in our pursuit.
The first time I got to see the full prosthetics, I got tears in my eyes. It looked so good, and it was so creepy and beautiful at the same time, and it captured a lot of the things we were trying to do with the game, but it was there in real life.
We found some terrific actors who were fans of the game and understood the movement, and we're really happy with how it all turned out. One of the changes that Neil and I felt we needed to make early on was the way the fungus would spread. Obviously, we did a lot of research on fungus and cordyceps. Neil and Naughty Dog, of course, had gone through a lot of that stuff as well. We started looking at something called mycelium, which are these threads that make up fungus. In the game, it spreads through biting and saliva, but it also can spread through the air, through spores. And while that works in a video game environment, in real life, spores move around everywhere. And it's just harder to buy into the notion that spores localize and don't spread.
Craig had this idea that I loved, which is just like the way fungus operates, is sometimes it's like the largest organisms you can have in the forest. It's a single organism that can just communicate to different parts of it. Like if you touch a tendril here, a mile away, you could wake up a horde of infected that will now like come after you.
Indeed, there is this thing called the wood wide web. Fungus can communicate chemically over insane distances. They are remarkable organisms, and unfortunately, in this case, also terrifying.
And that's one of those changes that we made from the game to the show. In the game, it was the military chasing us, but we felt like, just again, the way it was playing out, we couldn't sustain that. And I believe it's actually more dramatic and kind of interesting than what happens in the game.
Tess was a character that we did quite a bit of expansion on. She doesn't have any particular emotional connection to the world as far as we know. So in that regard, she's kind of a perfect survivor. Once she understands what Ellie is, and that Ellie represents some modicum of hope for the world, you see that there is something in her that was always there that is ready to come back out.
When Tess finds out that Ellie is immune, there's immediately a light bulb moment for her that goes off, which is like redemption.
I think Tess goes, if they do this one thing, that can potentially save everyone. She can in some way be redeemed for all the shitty things that she's done.
Even in getting bit and understanding that her life is going to end, she is even more committed to hope and inspires Joel to move on with Ellie for just a little bit longer.
I had imagined that the scene was going to be very different to the way that it actually turned out. I thought it was going to be much slower, and I thought it was going to be like this magnetic kind of pull. And then when we came to do it, I don't know, it was just so not what I had thought it was going to be.
Neil understands how to create fear, and it's gorgeous.
My first reaction to the episode was surprise. It was this unexpected, beautiful love story in this bleak world.
My philosophy on this show has always been, when should we deviate and when should we come back? If it's kind of the same or worse, we stay where the game is. If it's better, we deviate.
We talked about using Bill, because he's on his own, as a way to follow through time and see how things changed within the context of a man.
One of the first conversations Craig and I had about this episode was like seeing Frank. But this is probably the biggest departure between the game and the show.
We knew from the game that Bill had a partner. His partner was Frank. In the game, Frank is already dead. And I thought that there was an opportunity to go a different way.
I'm really hungry.
Haven't eaten in 2 days. Doesn't sound very long out loud, does it? Bill and Frank are kind of opposites, really, in terms of the way that they kind of operate in the world. You know, Bill's super practical and not emotional, and Frank is the opposite of that. We're going to make friends.
We don't have friends, Frank.
Bill is a sad character to me when I just envision him in the world before Frank shows up.
Frank's nature is he's a people person. He's been able to persuade people of his value. Whereas Bill has used the other approach, which is, I have a gun and I'm pointing it at you. Unless you run away, I will kill you.
It's amazing because we get to do such contrasting scenes, sort of action kind of scenes, and then really like intimate, vulnerable scenes.
With each episode, there's a sort of reflection of where love can take you. And this was the pure, innocent version. This is the beauty that love can bring us.
The last scene is emotionally charged, but strangely enough, it's also quite perfunctory. What really is important is the not being too emotional, because I think it's better to let us be emotional. We've lived the life with them, and the point that Frank says that today is my last day, that's really about, okay, let's just go through all the things.
Just give me one more good day.
I've seen this thing 200 times, and I still cry. That's those two guys doing it to me, no question. It's remarkable. That's the dream.
When Ellie reads Joel that suicide note, Bill kind of spells out, look out for the people that you love. And he specifically mentions Tess. It's a reminder of Joel's failure. Joel has already failed to save his daughter, and now he's failed to save his romantic partner. What's next?
I think what's narratively fascinating about The Last of Us is it's a new kind of apocalypse, and the story of our compulsion to dominate.
So at the end of the third episode, we saw Joel and Ellie leaving in Bill's car, and for the first time, you got a sense that they were a team. And that theme carries through into the fourth episode. There's an uneasy truce, but they're not necessarily anything more than, as he says, cargo.
Joel,
tus tráilers.
did you know
Visita mi
diarrhea is
canal.
hereditary?
What?
Yeah, it runs in your genes. Joel secretly loves Ellie's humor and her jokes and her puns. He pretends he doesn't, but he does. I think that means a lot to Ellie that he does actually find her funny. I don't think she ever worries about annoying him. She kind of loves it.
Feel free to wait in the truck.
We decided to deviate a bit from the game. In the game, they made their way to Pittsburgh. So in looking around at possible places, we landed on Kansas City because it just felt like it was a good match for sort of what we had and where we were to shoot in Calgary.
I had an idea about which episodes that I was going to have to get my head around quite early on. There was a breakdown of various action sequences in episode 4, and thank God I had such an extraordinary team to help me.
Please help! Put your seatbelt on.
Are we gonna help him?
No. It's quite a fun day. It's just crashing cars. It's, that's why we got into this business.
Ellie witnessed Joel being violent at the end of the first episode. And this is a moment where, when they're under attack, Ellie has to trust Joel.
You see that hole? When I say go, you crawl to that wall, and you squeeze through, and you don't come out until I say.
He is this protector, he is this violent man, he's gonna take care of her. But what she encounters very quickly is how ugly that violence is. He is attacked by someone else who is going to kill him. And Ellie, who has found a gun, walks out and saves Joel through an act of violence. And Ellie is confronted by the horror of what she did and what she's capable of. Joel has an opportunity to comfort her. He doesn't. And you can see how quickly Ellie just wipes those tears away and pretends nothing happened at all because she's just like him.
This was another thing that we discussed early on. How do we personify this group? Because in the game, they were just an obstacle. How do we give them a face? And here, it would be interesting if they were more than an obstacle. They'd feel like people with a real goal and real motivation and humanity. So with the character of Kathleen, we get to see that she's this ruthless leader, and she clearly has the respect of this group that managed to take down a quarantine zone.
Find who did this. Find every collaborator and kill them all.
In the gaming world, playing Tommy was one of the unexpected joys of my career. So to be a part of that world again and see it come to life three-dimensionally is really exciting. Perry and Kathleen, they're new characters. Kathleen is the leader of the resistance, and because of Perry's past in the military, he is willing to follow her lead.
Kathleen is a tough woman. She's a very principled woman, but she definitely has a dark side.
When there is a dramatic shift in power from a repressive regime being overthrown by a revolutionary force, history is full of examples where the revolutionary force is just as bad as what was there before. And here in Melanie Lynskey, we have that embodied.
I love humanizing villains. And so much of The Last of Us is about people that have to make choices.
Joel!
And whether they're heroes or villains really depends on your perspective. The narrative function of Henry and Sam was to show a mirror image of Joel and Ellie. This brother that's almost like a father to Sam. A person that's willing to do anything to protect his brother.
Sam and Henry are another example of this duality that we encounter, who are bonded together not only because they're the only family they have left, but because they also speak a language that very few people speak.
I love that so often when we were working on this, when we had a deviation, Craig would always call me. He's like, okay, I've been thinking about Sam, and hear me out. I know it's a big change, but what if he were death? And it's a way that Sam has to rely on Henry even more.
They're going to help us escape.
And I said, that's so good, it makes me upset that I didn't think about it.
Leading up to getting the role, I did not know ASL.
Lamar and Bella picked up ASL in an instant.
The interpreters and CJ and Kivon in this film, they were so willing to help anyone who wanted to learn. In the end, all the crew were signing because everyone wanted to communicate and let them know how great they were.
When we go into the sewers and we see that there was like a whole community down here that has perished, you get to appreciate how different groups survived. For fans of the game, when they see that drawing of Ish, they know this whole other story that has existed and happened in this world. In a game, you could pick up notes and read them. It's one of those few moments of pure innocence when you're seeing them laugh. That's very rare in this world.
Sam definitely does bring out a childlike energy in Ellie, and I think that naturally came just through working with Kivon. Endure and survive. Yeah, man.
Keep it down, we're not out yet.
You know, I wasn't exactly telling you the truth before.
He's responsible for Kathleen's brother's death because he was saving his own brother. And so, my brother's more important than your brother. These are decisions that love makes, not rationality.
I know why you did what you did, but did you ever stop to think that maybe he was supposed to die?
He's just a fucking kid!
How many people will you sacrifice? How many people will you burn to protect the one you love?
Kathleen would say her absolute moral code is one of her strengths. I think it's one of her weaknesses. You need to have empathy for the positions that people are in.
In a world where everything's falling apart, you latch on to the things that you can to stay sane.
For a show that has monsters in it, we don't have a lot of monsters because there's no gameplay when you're watching a show. But I wanted people to feel for the first time just how humanity lost. Because because look at what's pouring up out of the ground.
When it came to the infected, we realized that we had the largest amount of infected that we've ever had in the show so far. So we got in contact with Terry Notary, who does a lot of work with movement on the Planet of the Apes movies. He set up a special infected boot camp with stunt and movement people.
When you have a human being playing these characters, you really get the subtleties that it's so hard for animators, it takes them forever to recreate it.
We have everything from a swarm of infected to clickers. There's a bloater.
Stop!
Kathleen is killed by a child clicker. She was warned about a danger lurking in a basement. She turned away from it because she just wanted to chase after Henry and make sure she got vengeance. Maybe it's for the best. I don't think she's a person who could have found peace.
You think they'll be okay?
It's easier when you're a kid anyway. Neil's story made it very clear that you cannot escape fate in this regard. And that in fact, the more ruin and hurt you cause to protect this person, the more brutal it will be when you lose anyway.
The scene where Ellie tries to heal Sam with her blood, to her, it was her chance to be this hero that she'd been promised that she was. And she was so desperate, because also the relationship that she'd built with Sam.
It was really tough for me to film the scene in this room. Sam is so important to Henry. Once he lost Sam, Henry felt as though there wasn't much to live for.
What did I do?
And I think it really affects Joel and Ellie moving forward in the story.
This is where Joel is beginning to understand what's happening inside him, because it's been 20 years since there was anybody in his life like a Sam that would ruin him if he were to lose them. And he doesn't quite know how it happened, but it has begun to happen now with Ellie. When he sees what happens here, all he can think is, that's going to be her and me. And it terrifies him. Trying to save somebody and then failing is a terrible feeling. And it is in fact the feeling that Joel finds himself soaking in now, every day, because he's panicked that it's going to happen to him again. He can handle being shot at, he can handle being punched, kicked. What he cannot possibly fathom is going through the experience of losing his child again, and that's what Ellie is becoming to him.
Ellie doesn't make relationships easily, mainly because the relationships she has built have been cruelly taken away from her. That's where Joel and her are the same.
What's incredible was to be able to explore things that I think are very much a part of the experience of the game, but you can expand on.
You're not going to scare us.
Scared him?
One of those things is the internal life of these characters.
With the show, there was this addition of like, he's having a physical reaction to that. He can't breathe, his chest hurts. It's a combination of his age, but also all the events that have just happened.
Are you dying?
And his connection to Ellie. He's just so scared. And Ellie doesn't quite understand what's happening with him. Joel just feels like he needs to save everyone around him. Joel has this goal where he thinks he needs to go save his brother. And then he arrives in Jackson. Not only does he not need to save his brother is thriving.
This place actually fucking works.
When we were in Canmore filming, just the little town of Jackson, I was just like, there's the bank, there's the studio, lights! I was like, they got everything, they got all we need. It just makes my job easier because I could just really come onto set and be.
Imagine going to a town and being able to put in like a half-acre stables with sheep and horses and cows and all of that stuff. My favorite part of that was building the paddock and the stables and everything in the parking lot right in the middle of town.
Hey, Joel, check it.
When we go into these places, we're not doing anything small. We spend quite a bit of time there. And if there's one business on a street that we want to film on that doesn't want to play ball, we're out of luck. Fortunately, we've had everyone accommodate us everywhere we went.
Jackson, it's this beautiful community. It's the closest some group has come to the world that we know, the world that we live in, that they could watch movies, that they could celebrate Christmas.
I'm sorry about your kids.
It's okay. And Kid, just Kevin. Sarah was Joel's daughter.
There's this beautiful moment where Joel stumbles outside and he thinks he sees his daughter. We love the idea that for a moment he would think, just for a moment, and then he would see her with her daughter and he would think, that's what I would have.
We always try to keep her spirit in the scene. I think it's always a ghost in the room between Joel and Tommy.
I'm failing in my sleep.
Tus trailers.
all I can-
Visita mi canal.
It's all I've ever done. It's fail.
Anybody who's like grieving or who've lost a child, everybody goes through that path differently. With Maria, I think she poured into the people because that's what she had. And I think Joel kind of just imploded. Like, I just feel like he just went into himself. But it is different to see how Maria and Joel both handle those losses very, 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 very differently.
I've lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
And that scene is perhaps the most famous scene from the game. We did it almost exactly. We changed a few things here and there. The general execution of it was something that I thought was important we stick to exactly.
Everybody I have cared for has either died or left me. Everybody fucking except for you! Me and Pedro, both of us really felt the pressure of that. And when you feel too pressured in something, when you've created that for yourself, it can be hard to perform how you want to. Yeah, no, I had sleepless nights over that scene.
I didn't envy them, so trying to like do a scene that like exists in the game and is like seared into people's mind, and they made it their own, and it's just as beautiful.
Ellie admits she's afraid and that he makes her less afraid. And what Joel doesn't know how to tell her is she makes him more afraid. That when you care about something or someone, that's when the fear happens.
Joel? Joel, no, shit! Ellie's biggest fear is definitely ending up alone. Joel, open your eyes. Open your eyes. I can't fucking do this without you. Please.
At the end of episode 6, Joel appears to be dying. When we return to find him with Ellie, he is in terrible shape. And in fact is telling her to leave him because he's not gonna make it. Ellie has to make that decision. In the moment she hesitates, we are brought back in time to an Ellie we have not met.
We get to see what is it like to be a kid in this world before you get thrust on this crazy journey or find out you're immune to the cordyceps. You're just a kid in a military school that feels like she doesn't belong. She has no connection with anybody else except for this one girl that left her and she thought was dead because she was gone for so long.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I just ran away for a bit, that's all.
If you're going through some shit, you're supposed to, I don't know, talk to your best friend about it. Riley is Ellie's only friend, really, in the QZ zone. She also has quite a big crush on her. Their bond and their relationship is very real and pure and fun. They have a really interesting dynamic, and I loved working with Storm to create that.
Riley is played by Storm Reed. We had to find somebody that was able to not only be on Bella's level in terms of talent, but also somebody that we think would have the upper hand on Ellie, and that's a tall order.
Turn right, open the door, tell me when you're there. Go.
Fine.
This is Riley's one last chance to show her love and appreciation before she goes away.
Are you there? I'm here. Now what?
The metaphor for this episode was, what is it like to skip school in the post-apocalypse? And you get to see them play an arcade game. Imagine like an arcade game that Ellie has a poster of in her room. She probably read about in some old video game magazine they found. They've probably like seen the moves, and here they get to do it. Riley gifts that to her.
Go again? Goddamn right. It was so much fun to film. It was crazy, very full on, and those days were long and emotional and taxing, but honestly, they're so rewarding and so satisfying.
It's really cool to just walk around and admire the work that people do. The authenticity of what the world looks like or what the mall looks like, they did an amazing job.
The mall was, I think, one of the most amazing sets. We had to get a carousel, we had to do a Halloween store, we had to do a Victoria's Secret store.
What?
Nothing, I was just trying to imagine you wearing that.
Shut up!
Riley is kind of testing out the waters and seeing how Ellie feels, and she has a little crush on her, so it's kind of like a date, but not really.
In that world, to have a crush on someone, it's still like a feeling that you can't just turn it off because the apocalypse is going on and you don't think you have a future together. Like, it's something that's still very much there.
In this world, it's often the case that the happiest moments are interrupted by the worst moments. And there's this wonderful moment where Ellie realizes that Riley feels the same way about her that she feels about Riley, and they kiss.
Ellie gets to experience first love, first kiss, and then we snatch it away from her.
They're attacked and they are both infected. And they believe, quite certainly, that they are both going to die or turn into a monster.
No!
Where Ellie turns dark and violent, smashing the store up and screaming and just furious, Riley is quiet because Riley has experienced loss. The Ellie we're seeing now has never experienced loss. And Riley does say, we're all going to the same place.
Some of us just get there faster than others.
But we don't quit on the time we have together.
And then cutting that with Joel when he tells Ellie, leave me, and he pushes her away. But that memory is ringing in Ellie's ears, and she knows that she's gonna fight to the bitter end, because the person she loves the most now in this world is Joel, and she'll go to any length to save him.
Ellie is thinking about Riley, and she's thinking about the fact that Riley didn't quit on her, Riley didn't walk away, Riley didn't let Ellie kill herself, and Ellie's not walking away from Joel. And she walks right back down there and she says, I'm going to keep this moment for as long as I can. For as long as I have you, I'm with you.
In this episode, David captures Ellie. And you see Joel is slowly recovering because Ellie was able to get him medicine. And you're waiting for him to do the traditional hero thing, which he's gonna burst through the door, he's gonna kill David, he's gonna save Ellie, and then they can continue on the journey. Ow! And we wanted none of that.
We think of it as our cold episode. That one was really cold. And it needed to be, because the episode in many ways is about deprivation.
Shooting in February in Calgary was freezing. Obviously also holding a freaking rifle up, so like a 5-minute scene was tricky.
And there was 3 or 4 house-size window machines that were just pummeling me with snow. Yeah, so that was hard.
You thirsty?
So we find ourselves in this darkest place with the darkest version of Joel. And Ellie is forced to survive on her own.
This sequence is the thing that inspired me or like made me want to make the game. So in the game, at this point, you play as Ellie. And it's this really wonderful moment when you watch people play it because they almost always say, oh my God, I'm Ellie.
You're quite a hunter. We didn't even hear you coming.
Turn around and walk away. She is prickly and doesn't trust anybody. Naturally, she obviously isn't going to trust a random guy and his buddy in the middle of a snowy forest.
What do you need? We have boots.
Medicine? Like for infections.
We do.
David presents as the good dad. And we begin to wonder if maybe she has met the one good person out there. We, of course, see fairly early on that there's also a very dark part of David.
We bring her back with us.
I'm gonna lead them away from you. But if anybody makes it down here, you fucking kill them. You got it?
When he captures Ellie,
3, 2, 1, action!
we are all meant to feel hopeless, because it is hopeless for her. And we also come to understand two things that maybe weren't immediately clear. One is that David is a bad father in a terrible bad way. And the other is that these people that Ellie finds herself amongst have been eating their own dead.
You're gonna chop me up into little pieces.
I'd rather not.
Really what he'd like is for her to be his little minion, his little wife. Once Ellie begins to realize that, the relationship becomes a lot more tense and a lot more scary and a lot more dangerous.
You're a natural leader. You're smart, loyal, violent.
She's surprised by the accusation.
You don't know anything about me.
She has no choice but to recognize some truth in that. And certainly David believes he's about to turn her.
You have a violent heart, and I should know.
Everything that she'd experienced hasn't just gone away. It's just this moment of beauty. So precious, it's almost sad. But then from speaking to Craig, I realized it was just living the truth of it, which was, it was bittersweet, but still so, so beautiful. So fucking cool.
There's just a moment of awe and wonder in this world still. And the beauty of it is such that we understand why the ice melts between them. He's still trying to keep her with him and saying, we don't have to keep going. Let me just take you back with me. And she's saying, no, we have to go out and finish it.
We finished what we started.
I get emotional just thinking about it because it's their closest moment where Joel finally tells her the true story about how he got his scar. And it was not because some guy shot at him, it's because he tried to kill himself and he missed. But he's glad he did. And she thinks she understands the lesson here, which is you'll get over this. He lost a daughter, he was crushed, he wanted to end his own life, he didn't.
So time heals all wounds, I guess.
It wasn't time that did it.
In the hospital, Marlene quickly realizes this is not the Joel she knew because he has an emotional connection to Ellie.
You take me to her right now!
It's about the way we treasure the people that we love more than everyone else. How love leads to emotions that can rage out of control.
We've seen Joel kill. We've seen him lose loved ones. So how do you take that any further? What if it's between saving all of humanity or this one girl? It's the easiest choice he's ever made in his life.
What would make one choose one thing over the survival of humanity, essentially? Which is something that he does because he finds himself incapable of losing again.
I won't let you take her.
Unhook her.
Turn around.
Can't keep her safe forever. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many people you kill. The parking garage is the last shot. It's the last opportunity to save what Ellie can gift the world. Joel, he is wrestling with his grief, and he can't see past it.
There was no limit to how much we could try to understand that, how much we could defend it or judge it. And it's this beautiful shadow that one can explore and question, find the horror and the humanity of.
This whole journey we've been working towards this trust that is forming between these two characters and how honest they are with each other and how much they learn to rely on each other. And then Joel puts all of that on the line. Like a parent, you feel like you need to lie to your children to protect them. And that's what Joel does at the very end.
She knows deep down that he's not telling the truth, but she can't let herself believe it because it's too painful and it's too scary, the idea that her only purpose in life hasn't been fulfilled, that had been taken away from her by the person that she loves and trusts the most. It's too overwhelming. So she forces herself to believe Joel. Swear to me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Time doesn't really heal anything. It just makes it fade. but people heal things. And in that moment, you understand the depth of what she means to him. And the horror of it all is that that's why the ending has to be the way it is. The ending is something that people have been arguing about for over a decade. Should Joel have done what he did? And a lot of people will say no, and a lot of people will say yes. In the end, the only thing we can be sure of is that we understand why he did it, and we understand that Ellie would not have wanted him to do it. That complexity is why The Last of Us as a narrative is so gorgeous. It's why it's the most beautiful story told in the entire genre of video games. It's why Neil is a genius, and it's why I wanted to make the show in the first place.
It was intense, but every second of it, I was like, I can't believe that I'm here and I'm getting to do this.
Yeah, you tell them. You fucking tell them, Ellie.
Anna and Marlene have been best friends and have gone through this whole journey together. We've already met Marlene up until this point and finally realized that connection when Marlene walks into the room and sees Anna in the state that she's in.
Take her with you, and I want you to give her this.
This is what Marlene had taken on, is like the foundation of her relationship with Ellie. Being a part of this story for as long as I have and then seeing it in person and getting to experience it was just, yeah, I'll never forget it.
Hey there, I'm Gabriel Luna, and I play Tommy Miller in The Last of Us. When I heard I was cast, it was a joint call with Craig Mazin, Neil Druckmann, and Carolyn Strauss. And it was fantastic, man, because I love the games. I had already started playing the games. And then I'm a huge fan of Craig's. I love Craig.
Tommy!
I don't think I did anything too crazy. I think I went, I always call my mom first, with every big job, let her know what's happening. I used to make a big deal out of it and go to a big celebration, but in this one, I just think we just plopped down on the couch and big smiles on our faces. I say it over and over, you don't have to reload a blade, so you keep a blade with you. You can't be looking through every drawer, around every corner for ammunition. Well, a few things fell off the costume truck, and somehow ended up in my bag.
Doesn't seem like you age much. You, on the other hand. Thanks for still giving a shit about me.
One of which being a beautiful belt buckle that was made by an 85-year-old craftsman there in Calgary, Alberta, silver and gold plated with turquoise, beautiful. I took a pair of boots that we had specially designed by a woman named Carolyn at the Alberta Boot Company, which she modeled off my boots. I wear a pair of Lucchese Ropers that she really liked, and she put an arrowhead on the pull-up tabs, which I requested, like an arrowhead, and then she sewed in Indian paintbrush, which I wanted something to feel very Texas, because I'm from Austin and I wanted a little hint of Texas in it. The very first scene where you see Tommy, it's an introduction to the character. It's an introduction to their family. It's a little bit of an invitation for the audience into our little family.
Is there enough for our Uncle Tommy?
The water man.
Hey, you still alive, you old fucker?
Oh, he loves you.
He's dependent on me. Not the same.
I think it's the same.
It's definitely the same. I thought we was having pancakes.
But it's just a really nice, very natural, quick introduction to the family, and that was really fun to play. You know, there are really no must-haves in my trailer other than my morning coffee and a couple of boiled eggs. He's got a little bit more of a free-flowing way of being, and I really admire that about him. He's able to pivot at any point and go in any direction.
Tommy's what we used to call a joiner. Dreams of becoming a hero. So he enlists in the Army right out of high school. A few months later, they ship him off to Desert Storm. That's what they called that war, it doesn't matter. Point is, being in the Army didn't make him feel much like a hero. Cut to 12 years later, outbreak happens. He convinces me to join a group making their way up to Boston, which I did. mostly to keep an eye on him, keep him alive.
He is somebody that's okay with kind of moving sideways sometimes and taking his time and let the world pass him by. It's not necessary for him always to be racing. I admire that about him.
Hi, my name is Merle Dandridge, and I play Marlene in The Last of Us. The way I heard that I was cast was I got a phone call from the video game creator, Neil Druckmann, and he said, I have the great privilege of casting you for the 3rd time as Marlene, which actually it's his 5th time casting me as Marlene. We've done several iterations of it. And the first thing that I did, I think I got up and I think I squeezed my hand. I did one of these. I was so happy. Things that I did take away were things that I picked up that were local to Alberta, Canada, because it just became such a character and a piece and really had such a relationship to the show. Those things informed themselves because actually putting on the clothes, these are things I'd never done. Stepping into the room, I had never done that. We were solely working on a world of imagination and astonished after we saw what the artists and the engineers created after we did our work. So instead, we get to be in real time moved by our surroundings and get to touch the actual weapons, get to feel each other, get to actually see everything and be in a world that looks as desolate as the story that we are telling. The artistry on this show was astounding. So the only thing that needed to shift was for me to get him out of my own way. A water purifier, some kind of blade. Because she's a firefly, I'm going to have to say a battery because that's an incredible piece of currency.
Hi, I'm Murray Bartlett, and I play Frank in The Last of Us.
Hello, I am Nick Offerman, and I play the role of Bill. I think we first met on a dirt field in between our trailers, in which base camp was parked, which in Canada they might call a circus.
Did it hurt?
It's just a bruise. And you were wearing cool clothes. I was a huge fan from White Lotus. And so, I mean, you were friendly, you were generous, you made me feel like I might get out of this alive.
I heard that I was cast because I got a phone call from my agent, I think, or my manager, saying that I was cast. This was pandemic times. I mean, quite deep in the pandemic, I think, still, right? Fairly deep. And so I couldn't really go and run in the streets and leap for joy, but I did go upstairs and very enthusiastically told my partner that I landed this job that I was very, very excited about.
So who's Bill and Frank?
One of the champagne problems about things going well in our business, you auditioned for the role because the White Lotus had not swept the planet as the juggernaut of entertainment that it is. And so had it come up a few months later, I think similarly to me, because there's plenty of tape available on me, they just offered me the role.
Right, yeah.
So, which is great.
It's a lovely thing.
I don't want to trade that circumstance, but you do lose out your agent calling you and saying, "Kid, you got the job."
Right, yeah.
Run down to the gravel pit and tell the fellas. And so, but I mean, I found out I got to do it when I got offered it and figured out that I could do it, thankfully. And I believe my wife and I hugged and then made slow, languorous love before cooking a 3-course dinner.
Oh my God. Wow. I mean,
I love to get rolls.
I got the biggest sort of, the longer road to finding out, but you got the better payoff, I think.
Well, and I should say she's the cook. I mean, I'm the sous chef, and that I mean that both figuratively and literally. I would build things out of wood, like boats and musical instruments, probably.
I would try to be in nature as much as possible, which I do, even though I am an actor, but probably like try and be a park ranger or something, someone who takes care of nature somehow.
That's the best. I applaud that. And I'm like, why aren't we all park rangers?
Right? I know.
Come on.
I know. Well, I don't know about you, Nick.
What's the best way to pass time in the bunker? Watching HBO, of course.
I found it difficult to read that scene and not weep. Which, because I'm a romantic, it just seemed like such a beautiful place to arrive at after we've gone on this long kind of road with these two characters. It made so much sense. It speaks to sort of bigger themes about the show.
When I read that scene, I shook my head and said, Mason, you slick son of a bitch.
Hello, I am Bella.
Hi, I'm Pedro.
And we are from...
Planet Earth.
Right, well, that's debatable. When did you first meet?
When did we first meet?
Yes, and what was our first impression of each other?
We didn't get to meet until we were on set
Yeah.
because of COVID restrictions. And you were coming to get your hair chopped
And
off.
you'd been shooting and we just sort of
Right.
met at base camp.
That's right. What, if anything, did you take from set?
Like props?
Yeah. Or trauma?
I don't think, I mean, emotionally I can tell you a lot of things that I took. But physically, I didn't think I took any props, did
You
you?
didn't steal anything?
No, I really want a knife.
I didn't take anything. Some gray hair.
This is natural now.
It's just completely natural.
You suit it.
It's flourished.
What would you pack in your survival travel bag?
Is there internet?
Right. I know exactly what you're packing.
Well, I'll take my journal. How did you hear you were cast? What was the first thing you did?
I was on set.
You were working.
I was working.
You work too much.
Oh, I haven't been for 6 months. Get me a job already.
Oh, give me a break.
But it was on set, so it was a very surreal thing, and I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. What item from the Game of Thrones world would you bring to The Last of Us?
I really loved my robe.
I knew you were going to say it. This is why I said clothing.
I'm telling you.
I knew you were going to say your robe.
Because it looked fucking awesome.
Right. I think that would be good in the apocalypse.
Swish my way through it. Exactly, distraction. Flash. What about you?
I liked my armor from season 8.
Yeah.
It'd be heavy though.
I could be swishing around protecting me, basically. I could just be swishing behind you.
What is your most prized possession?
What is my most prized
Do
possession?
you want to look at it?
Yeah. It helps to kind of actually visualize
Yeah, I
the
know.
words. Do you have a most prized possession?
A tear stick.
A tear stick? What's that? Oh, the stuff that makes you cry.
Yes.
It has like a vapor?
It's like menthol. It's like menthol in a stick. And I knew this question was going to come up at some point, and I made a mental note to myself to remember that it's the tear stick, because it really is. It changed my life.
Why?
Because I was fought it for so long. I was like, this is cheating if I use this to
Oh, I
cry
see.
in a scene. Like, this is
Yeah,
not
but
allowed.
it-
Right, and I fought it for so
It
long.
somehow kind of enhances. It helps you have the real emotion.
Yeah, the tears produce the emotion rather than the emotion producing the tears.
Right.
It's so good. That's my most prized possession.
Interesting. Is it too late for me?
What's your statistic?
Just start-
You can borrow mine.
You need to give me that tear stick. What's the best attribute you bring to a survival scenario?
Unfounded confidence in abilities that I definitely don't have.
What do you mean?
Such as, I have too much confidence that I could take down a person.
You can take down a person.
Right, so if, like
You've done
I'm
squats with me on your back.
That's true. So, okay, so maybe it's not completely unfounded.
She can take you down. As I swish behind her in my mustard-colored Oberyn robe. What was your first job?
Game of Thrones.
Right, that would have been your first real job. Because you could also answer this as like, what was
Right, like I worked in a bar.
a job, yeah.
No, that was...
You worked in a bar?
No, at 11 years old.
I was a barmaid.
At 11, no, that was my... Actually, I got paid like a tiny amount of money for singing in a cathedral choir.
There you go. Mine was, I don't know, a coffee, like a barista.
I've always wanted to be a
coffee shop
barista.
in Manhattan.
Can you do the...
Yeah, back then. This was
So you couldn't now?
20 years ago.
You could.
Over 20 years ago.
Really?
More than that. 30 years ago!
You're old.
Ooh.
Who is the first person you call when you get good news?
My sister.
Oh. Which sister?
My older sister.
Nice.
Because my younger sister won't answer the phone. Hi, I'm Pedro Pascal.
And I'm Bella Ramsey.
And this is this a line from The Last of Us?
Smash
Is it?
I don't know.
A man must have a code. This is a line from The Last of Us.
No.
You're correct. It's a line from The Wire.
I mean, don't get it twisted. I do some dirt too, but I ain't never put my gun on nobody who wasn't in the game. A man must have a code.
Okay.
Huh.
I love these games, man.
This is
I better
so
not be
hard.
crap at it. Oh, okay.
I wonder if I do it with a different... Okay. Everyone I've ever cared for has either died or left me.
Everybody fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I'd be safe with somebody else, because the truth is, I would just be more scared.
It's just too easy. Way too easy. Like, I'm not gonna know that. We're not a large house, but we're a proud one.
I think that's from Game of Thrones.
Who says it?
I think I say it.
Yes, you do, Leanna. Mama, Game of Thrones.
You know who would know that also?
Who?
Craig Mazin.
Yes, he would.
He
Did
says
he
that
do
line
this?
to me far too often.
Does he?
We are not a large house, but we're a proud one. And every man from Bear Island fights with the strength of 10 mainlanders.
This is a hard one. Endure and survive. Or is it endure?
Endure. I think that's from The Last of Us.
It's from The Last of Us. Who says it?
Endure and survive.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Endure and survive. Endure, survive. Endure, survive. Fuck yeah, man.
Because I've met some people, okay? Real people. And a lot of them are fucking idiots.
It's not from The Last of Us. I wish I could guess what it's from. Do you know what it is?
Nope.
You've never heard of it?
Nope.
So there's no hints.
Nope.
Say it one more time.
Because I've met some people, okay? Real people. And a lot of them are fucking idiots.
Oh gosh. Is that, it wouldn't be Entourage.
No.
No.
It's from a show that is 4 letters.
4 letters?
It has a double letter. It's from a show called Veep.
Oh, Veep.
Selena,
Veep, of course.
Selena Meyer.
Yes, that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Is it American?
Yeah, it's American. Of course. It's hilarious. You would love the show.
People won't equate you with a natural disaster, ma'am. Really, Amy? Because I've met some people, okay? Real people. And I got to tell you, a lot of them are fucking idiots.
Not today, you New World Order jackboot fucks.
Not a clue.
Really?
Nope.
Think about it.
Go again?
Not today, you New World Order jackboot fucks. I would say somebody's staring into a security camera and speaking to themselves after a fascistic group has probably removed everyone from the town, but there's one remaining man that your character never gets to meet.
What? It's not from a show I
From
did.
The Last of Us.
Not today, you New World Order jackboot fucks.
I don't think I would have gotten that one. I feel like this, I don't know if that was in
That's cool.
written scripts. It's a good line.
There's a big and beautiful world. Most of us live and die in the same corner where we were born and never get to see any of it. I don't want to be most of us.
That would be Oberyn Martell from Game of Thrones.
It is a big and beautiful world. Most of us live and die in the same corner where we were born and never get to see any of it. I don't want to be most of us.
Do you remember doing that?
I do. I remember having so many favorite lines from my character in that show. It's a great line. Okay,
Last one,
last one from The Last of Us.
And fire is going to burn you up until you are but ash.
That would be Daenerys from Game of Thrones?
Nope.
All right, give me a hint.
You order too much Chinese, and then the next day, you're gonna eat
Breakfast?
Isn't this a good clue? Right.
It is?
You're gonna... Yeah, it's
Oh, I'm an
great.
idiot.
Yeah, you are.
Wait, I ordered
And fire
too
is
much...
gonna burn you... Yeah, you ordered too much Chinese or Indian. I'm gonna eat of my Chinese I had last night.
The leftovers.
Like, yeah.
Fire is gonna burn you up until you are but ash.
That was a tricky one.
I love games because I'm gonna win.
Hey there, I'm Gabriel Luna, and I play Tommy Miller in The Last of Us.
Hi, my name is Merle Dandridge, and I play Marlene in The Last of Us.
And we're about to play...
Is this a Last of Us line?
That's a Last of Us line. It feels very much, or is that Game of Thrones?
So death created time to grow the things that it would kill.
I did season 2 of True Detective, so I should have known that.
Yes, it's a Last of Us line.
Fire is gonna burn you up until you are but ash.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's a great line. It's not it's not a Last of Us line.
No?
No, I'm stumped. I don't know that one.
And you know, they blame you if you stay. But they love you like you saved them when you come back.
Yes.
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family. That's about it.
I'm not family.
No. Your cargo.
No. The Wire?
I mean, don't get it twisted. I do some dirt too, but I ain't never put my gun on nobody who wasn't in the game.
A man must have a code.
That is Game of Thrones. That's a Game of Thrones line.
I always drink before a fight.
It could get you killed. It could get me killed.
Today is not the day I die.
That's my line. That's a Last of Us line. That's a Tommy Miller line.
A bad reputation doesn't mean you're bad.
Not always, at least.
Yes. Marlene.
Because you have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined.
Hi, I'm Troy Baker, and I'm the host of HBO's The Last of Us podcast. And I also play Joel in The Last of Us video game. And I am here to answer your questions. Number one, this is not a show about zombies. This is a show and a story about love. It's a story about two people that are both lost that find each other and how they make their way through this world. Number two, the cordyceps fungal outbreak that we talk about on the show is not that far-fetched. It's actually scientifically possible. And the third thing, you will cry. A lot. And you can blame Craig Mazin. Absolutely not. The beauty of this is that it is two different versions, two retellings of the same story. So if you haven't played the video game, you can completely enjoy the show as a standalone. But I will tell you this, I don't think it's an either or. It's not either play the game or watch the show. This is a yes and. Play the game, then watch the show, or watch the show, then play the game, and enjoy discovering the differences.
Y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
You can expect to be surprised. You can expect to be satisfied. You can expect that in every episode, there will be one of those moments that you loved so much, but just a little bit different. Trust me, I went into this not only as an actor, but also as a fan. And my arms were crossed a little bit. I was waiting to see what they were going to do with that scene or with that character, with that line. It's all there. This is the most accurate, truthful adaptation of a story like this that I've ever seen before. And will there be Easter eggs? Come on. Yes, to both. All of the characters that you met in The Last of Us and you fell in love with and cried over are there. There are also new characters that I can't wait for you to meet. I remember there was this moment on set, and it was our first shot. And I'm sitting there, it's cold, and I'm in the middle of this massive production in this beautiful location. And I just kind of chuckled to myself. And the person that was standing next to me said, "What's so funny?" And I said, if you could go back 10 years to the person that walked into the audition, I never would have believed it. This is literally a dream come true. My goal with doing the show was that whoever played Joel would teach me something that I didn't know about the character, show me something that I missed. That's what Pedro does. He shows me that Joel is bigger than any one performance. Okay. So first of all, I wouldn't get bitten. I would have died long ago. Not gonna survive in an apocalypse, not one bit. People would have tripped me and used me as bait. I'm the first to go, 100%. This is Kashmir. Well, our story kicks off September 26, 2003, which is a little bit different from the game. And then we do a time jump of 20 years to where the majority of our story will take place. Well, selfishly, I really wanted to see what it looked like for someone else to play Joel. But the thing that, to me, added a whole new layer to the IP was not something that I expected. It wasn't something that I was looking for, because it wasn't really even there. A perfect example is the character of Frank. Frank in the game is, well, if you play the game, you know, he's basically dangling feet in a bad Hawaiian shirt. But in this version of the story, he is the anchor point. And it's possibly one of the most beautiful episodes, not only of this show, but of any show I've ever seen. So that, to me, adds a whole new layer of the IP. And that's what's at the heart of this story. It's the relationships. Yeah, we have monsters that are attacking us, and yeah, there are vicious people that are doing horrible things to survive. But at the end of the day, it's how these two people feel about that and what they're going through. So, what new aspects of the show added something to the story or to the IP? You have to wait to find out. Hello, I'm Troy Baker. I got to play Joel in the video game of The Last of Us, and I'm also the host of The Last of Us podcast. My reaction to seeing the story of Bill and Frank in the show resulted in a lot of tears. If you played the game, you know how that story went. Bill is this curmudgeon, he's this hermit, he's got this gruff exterior, and Frank is really just someone that we talk about. In the show, we got to see what that relationship looked like.
Paying attention to things. It's how we show love. This is my street too. Just let me love it the way I want to.
Something that I think that Neil and Craig did very, very well is putting on display what a long-term loving relationship looks like in literally the midst of hell. It started with strawberries and a lot of tears, and it ended with a bottle of wine and even more tears. You don't have to like someone to respect them. And when we see Bill and Joel sitting down at a lovely luncheon in the middle of the day, the two of them instantly recognize the counterpart in each other. If everything goes down, when the raiders come, what's the thing that Bill tells Frank to do? Call Joel. At the end of their dinner, Bill turns to Frank and says, "This isn't the tragic suicide at the end of the play. I'm old. I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose." And I think it took those 20 years, and maybe even that day, for Bill to realize that was his purpose. And in the game, Bill says, don't get attached to anybody, because that thing is good for one thing, and that's getting you killed. But in this story, we had the opportunity to show a different side of Bill, and perhaps a different version of Bill, which would say,
I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. But I was wrong, because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. Then I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do.
And now that Tess is gone, Joel realizes that his purpose is to protect Ellie. One of my favorite things about doing this podcast with Neil and Craig is that I have the opportunity to ask, just like you're asking me, all the questions that I would love to ask the creators of a show. How did you do this? Why would you do that? And there's always a moment in every episode where I'm not afraid of looking like I didn't know or looking dumb, but they blow my mind with some fact, either about how they made or a choice that originally wasn't in the script. I think I'd have to say pasta, because it's a ritual of my wife and I's. Every Sunday night is pasta night, and we make pasta. And if I had to go without pasta, that means that I wouldn't have those Sunday nights. So my strawberries are pasta. True to form with the video game, there have been so many Easter eggs already throughout this show. One of which is actually in episode 3. If you weren't listening closely enough, there's a whole conspiracy about bread and where this virus, this cordyceps virus, started from. And a lot of people thought that it came from bread. And Joel, in a conversation with Ellie, says,
no one knows for sure, but best guess, cordyceps mutated. Some of it got into the food supply. Probably a basic ingredient like flour or sugar. There were certain brands of food that were sold everywhere, all across the country, across the world. Bread, cereal, pancake mix.
What were the two things that he was supposed to eat on his birthday? Pancakes and cake. And those were the two things that he didn't get. Joel's path could have been really, really different. But my favorite Easter egg of all was in episode 2, because my buddy Neil Druckmann got to direct that episode. And if you notice, the lighter that Tess has, as she's trying to light as the clickers are slowly subsuming her, looks exactly like my character Sam in Uncharted 4's lighter. That was a little wink and a nod to not just me, but also this incredible story that the studio Naughty Dog had created in Uncharted, and was also a game that Neil directed. When we were making the game, the locations that we were in was a gray box with maybe some wooden, boxes to serve as a table or a chair or a truck. But when I got to play the game, that's when I got to explore those environments and be in the outskirts or be in Boston. But now seeing it like this, I get to explore places that in the game never existed, like Bill and Frank's neighborhood. So being able to spend time in this world in both familiar and unfamiliar places has been something that I had never anticipated. They split the ticket, but Bill and Frank might be my favorite characters, only because there was this treasure trove of riches that we didn't even know was there. And doing the show gives us the opportunity to really explore that relationship. So, who's my favorite? The answer may change as we go through the series, but as of right now, Bill and Frank have top shelf. Hello, I'm Troy Baker, and I got to play Joel in the video game for The Last of Us. I get to host the podcast for HBO. But in this episode, I played James. I knew that Craig and Neil wanted to somehow find a place for me. They were very gracious and have lovingly welcomed us into this ever-expanding family of The Last of Us. It kept waiting, and I thought, maybe it's gone away. Maybe there isn't something for me. And then Neil goes, I think I found a role for you. And he was like, I'd like for you to play James. And I went, oh, man. Who?
James. Yeah. I sensed doubt in there. I haven't lost faith in you, David. You're just scared.
I had to remind myself, I was like, that was his name. For me, it gave me a good opportunity to, just as this show has done, it's enriched the original story. Of course, playing a cannibal in the main antagonist's gang that tries to kill Ellie, I'm not sure what that says about Neil and I's relationship. I'm sure we're good. I think there was an interesting little tidbit that wasn't in the game that we put into the show about David's group coming from the Pittsburgh QZ. That was a little wink to the game, since in the show we went to Kansas City as opposed to going to Pittsburgh.
But when the Pittsburgh QZ fell in 17, Fireflies and Fedra, I left with a few others, and that's how I ended up with our flock.
No. Therein lies a lot of the manipulation and the control. David is a very, very savvy, tyrannical leader. He understands how to control these people. And part of that is by ruling through ignorance. Keeping people chained to their hope and their desperation is what allows him to maintain his position over them. He tells the people that he has to tell, and he tells those people, don't tell anyone. So there are people that are sitting down to eat this meal that think that they're eating deer.
What is it?
Venison.
They're not. Here's why I think David is the worst person, because he never lies to Ellie. He always tells her the truth.
I've always had a violent heart. And I struggled with it for a long time. But then the world ended and I was shown the truth.
And if you look at it from a certain lens, there's a lot of parallels between he and Joel. Both want to have a paternal sort of relationship. Both are doing anything and everything they can to survive. Both care for the people that are in their charge. But just like we saw with other people throughout this story, Maria being one of them, a singular event can cause two completely different paths and two different kind of people. Sarah dying for Joel set him on one path. Kevin dying for Maria sent her on another one. She was still able to retain her maternal care. Both of them are still parents. Both of them are grieving in two different ways. That said, David is pure evil. So having played the game, I knew what James, what his arc was going to be. So I knew going into it that ultimately I would meet my demise. What I didn't know is when you do performance capture, a lot of it is pretend. And so if you're bleeding, you have to pretend that there's blood. If you get stabbed, you have to pretend that you get stabbed. When you're making an actual film or a show like this, they go all out. So I spent the entire morning in prosthetics, and they had this magnetic attachment in my neck so that when Bella swung the cleaver, it would stick. And it did. It shake right there. And then they had this bladder full of blood. That's actually what they called it. They had a bladder full of blood that was piped up through my neck through this prosthetic. So when Bella hits me with the cleaver, I stagger back and blood goes everywhere. It was just blood, blood, blood. I went through 8 changes of wardrobe. And each time I got to sit in a cold pool of my own blood. It was awesome. Baby girl is a very important thing in the story of The Last of Us. And it was all in kind of an accident. When we were shooting the game originally, as Joel carries up Sarah to go to bed and he says goodnight, he puts her in the bed. And he says, "Good night, baby girl." And that's just the thing about growing up in Texas. Just baby girl is just something that you say. Neil says, "What did you just say?" I was like, "Good night." He goes, "No, what'd you call her?" I was like, "Baby girl." He goes, That is what Joel is going to call Ellie.
It's me. It's me. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, baby girl. I got you.
So for that to culminate in this moment of trauma with Ellie, and for Joel to desperately try to connect with Ellie, and something within him just organically resorts to calling her baby girl. That to me is one of the biggest hallmarks of Joel's healing.